everyone, it's Katie from Paradise Falls family. In this video we're continuing our Florida April 2023 vlog series with a look at our time in Epcot at Walt Disney World, Florida. We only had time for one day in this park on the trip, but we'll talk you through what we did, giving an overview of the park along with a few tips on the way. Again, it's worth remembering that we made use of the Disability Access Pass during our visit, and I explain what this is and our reasons for using it in our planning vlog, which is already in our Florida 2023 playlist. As a result, we probably fit in more rides than perhaps we would ordinarily, although it may be comparable to using Disney Genie Plus, the current FastPass system for example. Our day in Epcot came after a few days rest, and we decided not to try and go in for the early opening at 8:30, instead having a bit more of a lie-in. We had a quick breakfast in our room at the Beach Club Resort and made the short walk to the top gates, arriving around 9 AM. We made the decision to rent strollers to preserve the kids' energy with a run of 3 days in the parks in a row. These are available just inside the top gates at the International Gateway as well as at the front of the park. A double stroller is currently $27 per day on a multi-day ticket, so not cheap, but we thought it was worth it to keep the kids well and having fun. To rent these, you simply pay for the number of days you require at the rental desk, and then you just need to show your ticket each day to get it stamped when you pick up your stroller, so make sure to keep this safe. Epcot always feels like a really big park as there's a lot of walking required. It's split into two main areas. Given the size of the park, it's important to plan out your day a little and try and limit the amount of walking where possible. Our general approach is usually to spend the first half of the day in the bottom half of the park, riding attractions while they're quietest, before moving up to World Showcase later in the day, where there are some of the park's best dining options. World Showcase is the area of the park situated around the World Showcase Lagoon with 11 different themed areas or pavilions, each based on a different country, plus the Outpost and International Gateway area at the top park entrance. Each pavilion has various different shops and dining options, as well as activities, attractions and entertainment all themed around that country. It's lovely to stroll from country to country enjoying the different food and activities on offer. As well as all of this, there are loads of different activities you can enjoy as you make your way around. For children, there are KidCot fun stops in each country where kids can visit and learn a little about the country and collect an activity card. This is something we do on every trip, and the kids love hopping from country to country collecting their cards. There is also the new DuckTales World Showcase Adventure, which you can play along with on your phone via the Play Disney Parks app. We did make a start on it, but found that with so much going on, we just didn't have time to keep this up as well as do everything else we wanted to. Epcot is also a great park to visit with the various different holidays throughout the year as well. We visited at Easter and there was an Easter egg hunt, which involves spotting a different Disney character themed Easter egg in each country. You can also buy a map which you complete with stickers as you go around and spot each egg. This was one of our favourite activities and the kids loved completing it and getting their little prize at the end. Epcot also often has different festivals running throughout the year, and while we were visiting it was the Flower and Garden Festival, which runs from the 1st of March through to the 5th of July. During this time there are lots of extra themed activities, entertainment and food on offer around the park, but particularly around World Showcase, with lots of different snacks and treats available. For the Flower and Garden Festival, the grounds are beautifully presented with flowers and character topiaries all over the park, and we all love spotting our favourites as we wandered around. Linked to the Flower and Garden theme, there's also a Spike the Bee scavenger hunt, similar to the Easter egg hunt, but instead you find Spike the Bee in each country, hidden in the gardens and flower beds. We decided against doing this one this trip, as we were already doing the Easter egg hunt and the KidCot stops, but we did do it last year when we visited and had a little more time, and it's loads of fun. Another thing to watch out for at Epcot are the live shows in the America Garden theatres in the USA area. With each festival, Epcot puts on live shows here, and during the Flower and Garden Festival, this was the Garden Rocks concerts featuring live acts each day. Some of the highlights this year were Smash Mouth, the Pointer Sisters, Jodie Messina, the Commodores and Simple Plan. On the day we were visiting, it was Starship, and nothing could stop us from catching a few songs later on in the evening. So back to our day. Having entered via the top entrance, we walked clockwise down through the right hand side of World Showcase through the United Kingdom and Canada areas. Although it was early and we wanted to hit some rides, we made sure to spend some time enjoying these countries so we didn't have to double back on ourselves later. We might be biased, but we really love the UK area. Over the years we've spent plenty of time here, with the kids in particular enjoying the mini maze and the gardens to run around in. There's sometimes live music playing classic British tunes, and you can usually meet Alice or Mary Poppins here too, and we've had some lovely moments meeting these classic characters. Another tip for the UK area is the Rose and Crown pub. This features classic British food and offers special dining packages for the nighttime show in the lagoon, currently Epcot Forever. It includes a meal on the terrace overlooking the lagoon, so you can sit and watch from the comfort of your own table without having to snag a spot around the lagoon hours in advance. We did this on our last trip and had a brilliant time, and it's something we'd really recommend booking in advance. With our first Kid Cot stop and our first Easter egg spotted and under our belts, we moved on to Canada, where we quickly ticked off our second ones. The Canada Pavilion isn't somewhere we typically spend a lot of time, but it does have a lot to offer, including the Canada Far and Wide Circle Vision movie and Le Cellier Steakhouse, which we really want to try when the kids are a bit older. Reaching the bottom half of the park around 10 AM, we had a decision to make on what to try and ride first. Epcot has quite a few big popular rides now, and we wanted to try and fit in one before the park got really busy. We opted for Soarin, one of our all-time favourite rides, so we headed off to the left and into the land building. I think it's fair to say that Epcot at the moment is a little bit of a mess while they reimagine a significant chunk of the park, and in particular the central part of the bottom half of the park. This area is now known as World Celebration, and as you can see from the map, most of this area is blocked off while it's updated. There are a few attractions and bits and pieces around the edges though, including the iconic golf ball-like entrance, which is home to the Spaceship Earth ride, the Journey into Imagination with Figment ride, and the Disney and Pixar Short Film Festival. This area also has Club Cool, the new Connections Cafe, and the massive Creations shop. The bulk of your time though at the moment is likely to be spent in World Discovery and World Nature. World Discovery has some great headline rides: Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, Test Track and Mission Space. We rode two of these three but decided against Mission Space this time. This simulates a space launch, and while the green mission is far less intense, I always still feel a bit motion sick and claustrophobic, so it's not one we ride very often. As well as the rides, you've then got the new Space 220 restaurant, which we tried last year and loved. This simulates you riding up to a space station to dine in space, and it was a great experience. We didn't have time on this trip, but it's one we'll definitely try and do again next time. Over in World Nature, the headline ride is Soarin', and then you've got a range of smaller rides that are great for younger kids, including Living with the Land, which is my personal favourite, the Awesome Planet movie, The Seas with Nemo and Friends, and Turtle Talk with Crush. The Nemo area also houses a massive aquarium with dolphins and manatees, and is a great spot to chill out away from the sun. In terms of dining, there are some great options here. We tried both the Coral Reef restaurant and the Garden Grill character meal on our last trip and really loved both. Garden Grill in particular was fantastic, meeting Chip and Dale, Mickey and Pluto with a family style meal. Then finally, you have Sunshine Seasons in the land building outside of Soarin', which is a great quick service option. So we decided to go for Soarin' first, with it being a family favourite, and we arrived a little after 10 AM. Soarin' simulates a trip soaring around the world, showing some of the top wonders of the world. Although not a thrill ride, it's such a wonderful experience that always leaves us all in a great mood, and it was a brilliant first ride of the day.
wide open. Please take a seat and store all carry-on items in the underseat compartment. This includes cameras, purses, hats, and of course, these little beauties. Next, fasten your seatbelts, inserting them into the buckle on your right.
Coming off of Soarin, we decided to grab a snack at Sunshine Seasons while we were there. Our boarding group for Cosmic Rewind was forecast for 12:30, bang on lunchtime, so we decided to have a snack now and then have lunch after riding. We grabbed a few bits and pieces and had a sit down to recharge a little before we had a slow walk across to World Discovery. There wasn't quite enough time to fit in another ride, so we made sure to get across to Cosmic Rewind in plenty of time, and in fact got on a little earlier than expected as our boarding group was called.
Does anyone know what they call themselves? What? I'm on? Someone needs to tell me what I'm on. Welcome, Epcot Terrans. I am Centurion Talmeric, and we're just about ready to teleport you up to the ship for the demonstration. As you're about to enter a secure Nova area, I must ask you to put away your Terran communication devices at this time.
The little ones in our group didn't fancy riding, so we spoke to a cast member and made use of the rider swap option. We explain more about this process in our Magic Kingdom vlog if you're interested. While we rode and switched out, the rest of us had a look around the Creations shop and took the younger kids to the playground at the back of this shop where they had a great time despite the heat. Cosmic Rewind was absolutely brilliant and moved up to one of our favourites at Walt Disney World. It was quite fast and you do get spun around quite a bit, so I did feel a bit green afterwards, but it was well worth it and I'll definitely be going back on next time. The songs played on the ride are completely random from a current choice of 6. Our first was Everybody Wants to Rule the World, which was probably the one we least wanted, but when my sister rode using the rider swap, she got Disco Inferno, which she said was amazing.
What have we done? I think it's back.
The queue for Cosmic Rewind was really slick, so we whizzed through and finished a bit before 1 PM, by which time it was time to start thinking about some lunch. The best quick service dining options in Epcot are situated around World Showcase, so we decided to save our legs, we'd go for Mexican, in of course the Mexico area, right at the bottom of World Showcase. However, before we ate, we were able to sneak in a quick ride on Frozen Ever After in the Norway Pavilion next door using our pass. This is a dark ride with a short log flume themed around the fan favourite film Frozen. Despite it being relatively tame, it often has big queues due to the popularity of the film, so we sometimes give this ride a miss. On this occasion though, we wanted to ride it for the little ones, so managed to squeeze it in. Next door you can also meet Anna and Elsa at the Royal Summer House, and then you can meet many of the other princesses at the Akashush Royal Banquet Hall, which is one of the most popular character meals at Disney World. This has only recently returned following the pandemic and was top of our list, but we couldn't get a reservation this time. With all of this on offer, plus shops and little exhibitions on Norse mythology, including Thor and Loki, etc., it makes Norway one of the most popular areas of World Showcase, and it's often really busy. On our way through, we ticked off another Kidcot spot and another Easter egg, and then hopped back next door to Mexico for lunch. In the end, we went for La Cantina de San Angel, which is a lovely open-air quick service, where we enjoyed tacos and nachos overlooking the lagoon. I chose to run to one of the festival food booths for my lunch though, and had the spicy corn on the cob and strawberry shortcake, which were both absolutely outstanding. When a festival is on, you can definitely miss out on full meals and just snack, but the kids wanted to sit down, so this worked well. Lunch for the 4 of us came to around $50, so pretty standard for a Disney quick service. By now it was around 2 PM and we still had rides we wanted to get on, as well as finishing World Showcase, so we set about trying to tick off a few of the smaller rides. We started with the 3 Caballeros ride in the Mexican Pavilion, as it had next to no queue. Again, this is just a short dark ride, but it's great fun and one we always enjoy. This is situated inside the pyramid, which is also home to the Kidcot stop, shops, a restaurant, as well as plenty of cocoa theming. Outside you can meet Donald Duck, and we spotted another of our Easter eggs as we walked by. Moving back into the bottom half of the park, we went left first of all to ride Journey into the Imagination with Figment, a personal favourite, spotting Winnie the Pooh just outside first. Figment is great fun and he's turned into the mascot of the park over the years, so we always make sure to ride this one. The kids also love the interactive play area at the exit to this ride, and if you time it right you can also meet Vanellope and Joy here. Unfortunately they weren't here this time, but we did get a tip from a cast member that Mickey Mouse was next door in the film festival hall with no queue, so we took the opportunity to say hello and have a hug. Before we moved on, we had to make a stop in the DVC lounge in the atrium above the Figment ride. This is only available to Disney Vacation Club members, and we love stopping by to cool off and enjoy some free snacks and drinks. The kids also love the interactive game tables here and will probably stay for hours if we didn't have other things to do. Next up was Test Track, so we dashed over to World Discovery. This was probably the kids' highlight of the day. In the staging area beforehand, they're able to design their own cars, and then throughout the ride their designs are scored on different handling and manoeuvres, and the kids loved seeing who came out on top before the final race to finish. Even the little ones love this ride and it's always a really big hit. Back outside, we made our obligatory stop in Club Cool nearby, which is a little Coca-Cola themed shop where you can try different crazy flavours of Coke from around the world for free. I think the Country Club from the Dominican Republic was our favourite, Beverly from Italy less so. Beverly is always good to try for a dare though. We now just had one more ride we wanted to fit in, Spaceship Earth. This is due to be reimagined, so we were determined to get on it one last time in case it's closed the next time we come. The last time we rode it in 2022, it broke down halfway through and we had to be walked off, so we were due a complete ride. Spaceship Earth takes you up and around the inside of the giant Epcot ball, taking you through the development of human communication, which is way more fun and interesting than I've made it sound, and it's a lovely way to relax out of the heat. Again, there's a great little area at the exit with interactive games for the kids that we always end up having to drag them away from after a while, as they would happily spend hours there. And with that, we'd done all of our must-dos, and time was pressing on, so we started making our way up to the World Showcase. We went back through the World Nature area with a quick walk through the Butterfly Landing, which is a temporary butterfly house included as part of the Flower and Garden Festival. Then it was back past Mexico and Norway and up to the China Pavilion. We decided for dinner that we were going to snack our way around the lagoon and eat as we walked to save time. I went for the corn again as it was just so good earlier, and I still dream about this over a month on. The kids went for a quick service chicken and rice from the Lotus Blossom Cafe. We didn't have time to stop long here, but the gardens in the China Pavilion are beautiful, and if you have more time you can also meet Mulan here and take in the reflections of China film. Further along we passed the Outpost, which is a little nod to the continent of Africa, and then went along to Germany. The German Pavilion is somewhere I always insist we stop at to visit Caramel Kutsch, which sells amazing sweet treats and caramel popcorn. Germany is also home to the Beer Garden restaurant, which friends of ours rave about, but we'd never had the time to try ourselves. Time was really pressing on now, and we didn't want it to be a really late night for the kids, so we whizzed through the Italian Pavilion, collecting our Kidcot card and spotting our Easter egg, and onto the American Adventure or USA Pavilion. We made a brief stop here for Greg to pop into Regal Eagle for some takeaway barbecue. Greg has been desperate to try this restaurant properly, but every time we try something goes wrong or the weather turns. At least this time he got something, even if it was a bit rushed. While he was inside collecting his order, we wandered over to the theatre and timed it perfectly just as Starship came onto the stage. The kids loved rocking out to "We Built This City", and it was a lovely spontaneous moment, something you don't always get with all the planning that has to go into a trip to Disney World these days. Remarkably, there were seats left in the theatre. Normally you have to queue up well in advance to get a spot. However, we were really conscious of time, so made the decision to move along and get the kids to bed. only had 3 pavilions left before the exit: Japan, Morocco and France, but it was dark now and getting on, so we wandered quickly through, spotting the last few Easter eggs on the way. We'd given up on the kid cot stops by now as the kids were getting tired and it was getting really busy as the evening fireworks approached. Although we didn't stop this time properly at the Japanese pavilion, it's another one which is particularly beautiful, with lovely gardens and a brilliant shop for the kids which has lots of Japanese merchandise such as Pokemon, Super Mario and Animal Crossing. It also has Teppan-Edo, another brilliant restaurant that's still on our list to try. France is also worth a special mention as it's home to one of the headline attractions, Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. We rode this on our last visit, and being from the UK, we've visited Disneyland Paris and ridden their version of this ride many times. We find them to be almost identical, so decided not to put this on our must-do list this time. In addition to this, you've then got the Beauty and the Beast sing-along, the Impressions of France movie, and multiple great dining options, of which our favourite is Le Crêperie de Paris, where we've grabbed some lovely snacks in the past, so it's well worth setting more time aside than we did for this wonderful pavilion. With all of our Easter eggs spotted, we made one final stop in the shop at the International Gateway before we left to collect our prize, some Disney-themed plastic Easter eggs which the kids enjoyed as little keepsakes. It had been a long day, perhaps longer than we'd originally intended, but we'd all had a wonderful time and we made the short walk back to the beach club where we were staying for a good night's sleep, arriving back just before the fireworks began over the lagoon. So that was an overview of our time in Epcot. It's a massive park with lots on offer and there was loads that we didn't get to do, unsurprisingly, as we only had one day in the park. We're looking forward to returning when the park has been fully updated in the next few years and spending a bit more time here. Next week we'll be looking at our day in Hollywood Studios, so make sure to like and subscribe to catch this and to help out our channel. In the meantime, if you've got any questions about any aspect of our trip, then let me know in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching.